Hey guys, welcome to the Santa Cruz Classic Criterium. We're picking up action here. This is probably 20 minutes into the race, maybe 25 minutes into the race. Have a teammate up in the brake. Justin, he's our breakaway specialist. This is looking really good for us. And I'm just with some teammates up towards the front, making sure that any breakaway attempts are marked and that we'll be able to represent a chase group that potentially forms near the front too. And I'm just going to do a lap here, talk about the course. Obviously, we just went through that technical hairpin. And then we come down this hill, pretty narrow, and it's pretty fast through here. But actually, this is usually a pretty good place to attack right down at the bottom of this hill. You can see my teammate trying it on the left here, but door gets slammed on him, so unfortunately carries all that momentum and isn't able to attack with it. But have a couple of corners here. This is a big sweeper. You can pretty much pedal through it, especially if you're up towards the front. You can take a good line. And then it gets a little narrower, and it gets a little bit more technical on this back section. You can see Mike's Bikes is at the front. They also have a rider in the breakaway group. It's maybe 6 or 8 riders. So we're all kind of doing the same thing here, and the breakaway is just gaining momentum. And there goes Cliff, because Cliff missed it. So Cliff was burning up all their guys trying to chase it back. And at this point, it probably has maybe 30 or 40 seconds and gaining. And as we come through that right-hander, that's a critical corner in the race because it's off camber. It's kind of an awkward corner. Not overly technical, but you have to use your brakes and scrub speed off right before coming into this climb, which is only maybe 200 or 300 meters at like 4 or 5%, but it's a headwind. You scrub off all your speed right at the bottom of it. So, on paper, it doesn't look like a hard course, but we probably started with something like 50 or 60 riders, and we probably finished with like 20 or 30. Okay, so here I go following this attack, because I just don't want other riders that could potentially beat my teammate up in the break to bridge up and then beat my teammate in the break. So it's my intention to follow these moves, and if they want to work really hard and drag me across to the front group, even better. But see, my teammate was doing the same thing. Mike's Bikes is up here too, doing the same thing. And even though we have a gap here, we've committed some energy. A group like this just isn't going to get across because, it's me, my teammate, and then Mike's Bikes. All three of us have a guy up the road. So really, it's only one person willing to chase, that guy on the front. And he's already done a big effort just to establish this gap. So it's very unlikely that a group like this is going to make it across to the breakaway. And what it does is it discourages this guy on the front from really going hard and trying to get across to the breakaway. So this is helping my teammate up in the break to stay away, because what incentive does this guy in the black kit have to ride really hard on the front if he's just dragging 3 guys with him? But anyway, that's the course. It was looking good for us at this point in the race because I had a teammate in the breakaway and I was able to sit and conserve energy in the field. And I was thinking that if it did come back together, this is the critical point in the course right here. This right-hander, it's off camber, it's awkward. Like I said, you want to carry as much speed as you possibly can into this hill on the last lap. So I want to be maybe 4th or 5th wheel because it still is a long drag and there was a headwind today. So a little later on in the race, still up towards the front, patrolling things. Gap is now increased even more up to the breakaway group where I have a teammate, which means we're pretty much committed to that as a team. See the SRAM guy up there getting a little bit impatient. And then this happens. So my teammate was crashed out of the break, and now there's a group up the road that has all of the major teams except us. So our plan A kind of failed, and we were just playing catch up from here on out. So this little chase group formed. A couple of my teammates jumped across and joined it right away. And this was looking good because it contained some of the teams that missed the original break. So it had a good chance of working well together and potentially bridging across to the lead group. Unfortunately, Robert Skinner saw what happened and wasn't too happy about 2 of my teammates attempting to bridge across to his one teammate up the road. So he got to the front and put on the gas. And I have this rule with Robert Skinner where every time he attacks, I just do whatever I can to chase him down because he's won enough races in the district and he is so strong. I put in a hard effort here, come across the first few riders with some speed to make sure I'm not being followed. And I just want to make sure that Robert can't bridge across to that chase group, attack from that chase group, and then join his teammate up the road. So now we have this gap. We're somewhere in between the field behind and the lead group up ahead. But the problem is we still have 2 Mike Spikes riders with us, and there just isn't much motivation to get to the front and keep riding hard and just drag these 2 Mike Spikes guys, which is Skinner and Andrew. Andrew's got a strong sprint, and Skinner can just break away pretty much whenever he wants. And if we've done a bunch of work on the front to try to close down the gap to the lead group, he's going to have even more incentive to put in a race-winning attack. So it all comes back together, and sure enough, Skinner from Mike Spikes puts in this huge attack. His teammates all sit at the front, not allowing the speed to be too fast. And he's just really a guy I pegged. I mean, not just because he's won all these other races in the district, but on a course like this, having a huge FTP like he does just makes him so dangerous if he can get a gap off the front. In fact, his teammate won the race solo in a very similar fashion last year. So I'm pretty tired, but I'm doing this over 1,000-watt effort. See if I can try to bridge up to him without dragging any of his teammates with me. But unfortunately, I am dragging one of his teammates with me. And now he's bridged up to the Marc-pro rider, John, who has a very similar power profile. They're both breakaway guys, so this is particularly dangerous. So I'm digging real deep here to close this one down. So I wanted to show this next clip just to show you guys how important teamwork is in this sport. Again, all back together. We're only about 10K from the finish now, and another breakaway with Mike Spikes gets up the road with the state champ, so this is a threatening one. See Skinner on the front, not doing any work. He's not going to chase his teammate down, so I'm forced to do this effort to close this gap down. I want it to stay together for a field sprint. That's what I'm looking forward to right now. And Skinner just jumps on my wheel, so now I'm doing this work. He's benefiting from the draft because he's got a teammate up the road. He doesn't have any obligation to chase, but I do. So you can see him. He gets in my draft here. Even though I'm trying to do a ton of watts here to get away from him, he's not the type of rider you can get away from very easily. Plus, it's pretty late in this race. I've done a lot of work. To be honest, I'm kind of thrashed. My legs are tired. I don't know how many more 1,000-watt efforts I have in me. But at least it's all strung out, and there's some gaps opening up. I see a gap behind Skinner as I approach these 2 front guys. So I close this threatening one down, and this is where you'll see that teamwork is such a big part of this sport. Look, Skinner looking over his shoulder, checking who's around him. Probably realized that there was a gap that had to be closed both in front of him and behind him. So everyone up here towards the front is pretty tired, and that coincides with coming in through this technical corner, up the hill with only 9Ks to go, and boom. That is a race-winning attack, and I cannot respond. Nobody around. All these people up here are either teammates or they're guys who are super tired. And this guy from out of state, Colorado, goes, and I'm like desperately trying to get in that draft. And God, I just have nothing left in my legs. And I followed him here pretty close by, 3 seconds, 2 seconds for a while, but just didn't have it in me. And I knew how threatening this move was too. When Skinner goes, you can already see he's got like 10 seconds. Oh, maybe less, maybe 7 or 8 seconds. But this was it. This was the move right here, and I just couldn't quite get on terms with it. All right, so 7 not particularly interesting kilometers later, I've just been sitting in. I figured, I can't chase it back. Maybe my teammates can do some help chasing it back. Sun Power should have been more active at the front. Same goes with SP2. And Cliff Bar did a lot of work early on. They're down to 1 guy, so this is about it. We're approaching the finish line here, and this is the bell lap, guys. This is 1 to go. And I'm kind of out of position here, so I'm looking for an opportunity to move up on the outside. Find a little gap right here, but Mike Spikes guy asserts himself. It gets a little bit tight. And to be honest, my position right here is pretty good. I just don't want a bunch of riders on the inside swarming and me losing position. And boom, there I get pushed into the curb again, scuffed up my shoes, but fortunately I stay up. I hit that one pothole, though, and it kind of throws me into this bad line. That was probably the worst corner, the worst hairpin I took the entire race. I saved it for the last lap. Fortunately, it opens up a bit here. This is a little bit different than the last lap of most crits, just because everyone's so tired they're at their limit, and the road widens back here. Get a little shot there on the left, and then here goes Bobby, my teammate, putting in one last ditch effort attack, which is great because I'm in pretty good position here. I want it to be really fast to kind of lock in my position, maintain sixth wheel or so right here. I let one more rider in, this SRAM guy, and now he's tightening up his shoes. Last lap, it's like less than a half a lap, 450 meters tightening up your shoes. I don't get it. But anyway, thanks Bobby, did a hard pull there. And now my position is looking pretty good. I know a lot of sprinters, like Josh, the SP2 sprinter, he's up there. I think he's a little bit too far towards the front because there's a deceiving headwind, and this is a lot longer than you think. But I take a good corner here. I carry a lot of my speed into the bottom of the hill like I was talking about before. Now my main goal now, just to make sure that the gap doesn't open up. And immediately the SRAM guy is starting to let a gap open up. So I have to open it up pretty early here and come around. I'm still holding a little bit back. Another little gap here, so I'm trying to get behind Josh and the Mike sprinter, and I can just take 1 second of a breather, and as the road kind of flattens up, I just put my head down and completely empty the tank. I timed it pretty well. Unfortunately, it was for 4th place, not first, but thanks for watching, guys. Another fun Santa Cruz in the books. One of these days, I'm going to stand on the top step. Not this year. Subscribe, hit like, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and see you at the next one.